Good morning. Very happy to be here. So it's very exciting for us because we come all the way from Malaysia. So our office, our HQ is in Kuala Lumpur. And more so exciting because of the snow. I did not saw snow for maybe 10 years, so we're like little kids when it started to snow. So we're really excited to be here. What I like to do today is basically, I do not want to show off what great things we do or did, but I just would like to share of what do we do and how do we do it. And maybe some of you in the room also are Asterisk system integrator, and maybe some of you are smaller integrators and thinking how you can grow bigger or do things maybe different. And I think we from our company, we just like to use this opportunity to share a little bit what is actually possible to do with Asterisk and how big can it grow. We started that, as David mentioned, a couple of years back, and we are Asterisk system integrator and developer, and we have two businesses there. One, we do enterprise-based Asterisk system, and another business that we have started a couple of years back is a hosted PABX or cloud-based PABX. Since with we grew then over time, and today in our organization, in our group, with our partnerships, we're around a little bit over 700 people, distributed over a couple of countries, and I think we are the number one, or let's say the largest, hopefully also the best Asterisk system integrator in Asia. This is a little bit our location, so we are not a threat really to the European or American market yet. So we are very much focused in Asia. There was a time when we started our business, like I think a lot of other Asterisk company, that you start to do in this SMB market. You try to do cheap Asterisk systems. You go out there, you want to beat the NEC, the Panasonics. At least we try to do that. But at one point, I asked myself actually, what should I actually do with my crappy little service business? Because yes, we are selling like Digium equipment, we're selling boxes, stuff like that. Very little margin, no service, and no recurring business. So we were thinking, can we actually really make money out of that, or is this just a hobby? Not sure if it's how it's for you, but for us at one point it was a bit like a hobby. Small projects, $10,000 here, $30,000 there. You cannot die with it, but you can also not really live with it. So then we said we have to change something. So then we said, what we actually have to change. So we thought a little bit and thought we do actually something wrong. I think the SMB market, maybe for us in Asia, is a wrong market. I think we have to maybe look in another market, because our problem was like that. As I say, we are not very familiar with the US market, but in Asia, let's say an SMB Asterisk project, $20,000. 50% is maybe hardware with the boxes, the cards, the phones. Then we have a little bit of licenses also, because our clients want to do maybe some call reporting statistics or some call accounting software that is not open source. So we had license cost, and then we had a little bit service on top. So like $4,000 service. Well, that was a problem for us, because we cannot survive on $4,000, and we cannot create enough business as a small company to scale it up. It would be nice if you have 100 SMB projects per month, then for sure you can work with it. But for us, we had maybe one project a month, then two the next month, so it was very tough actually. And what's even more troublesome for me is the recurring business. There is no recurring business in the SMB market. You sell the thing one time, and they start to make their phone call finish. That's it. They will not come back to you and say, hey, I would like this now, this backend integration, I have an SAP. It's just like a one-time kind of job where you have maybe every year 10%, where you sell them a little bit, maybe a bit maintenance and support business. So we just thought, for us, this is not the right thing to do, because we were purely focused on Asterisk-based business. Maybe if you do other things, maybe if you do Asterisk is a by-the-way product, you know, maybe you do some CRM, some other stuff, and Asterisk, as it comes along, maybe that's a viable solution. For us, it was not, because we were fully focused on Asterisk. Another things that we learned in the SMB market, they are small, but they have complex requirements. Because an SMB with 200 people is a small company, the IT boss is not necessarily easy to go with. He also wants 200 features, but they don't want to pay for it. That's the big difference. If you go in a big company, the CIO, he also wants 200 features and great stuff, but at least they have the money to pay for it. We heard that yesterday. We never say no to a client, but we tell them how much it costs. This is very possible in an enterprise, but in SMB market, I think it's very difficult. So we realized that this SMB or SME, how we call it in Asia, they are actually very difficult clients, especially in Asia, to manage. They don't want to pay anything, but they have a lot of requirements. It's also no room to grow because the deployment are mostly localized. They have one office, one location, finish. You don't start in an HQ or in a branch. They try it out and then grow with them. It's like just a one-time shot. Yesterday we saw Switchvox, how easy it is to use. I say it's too easy to use because at the end, I'm not sure how you see it. We want to make money at the end. And yes, it's great if everything is easy and click and next. But then no one gives you a buck to change anything in the system. They do everything by themselves. You know? I mean, there's good and bad. There are always two sides for us. For us in a room that want to make money out of service, the easy to use is actually not really a good thing. At least in my eyes. It's also very difficult or impossible to differentiate. We had this problem when you do a lot of small projects. You are not different than the other Asterisk SI next door, because they all do the same kind of projects, at least in Asia, smaller projects. So you can, from a marketing point of view, it's very difficult to differentiate yourself. Mainly because these clients are unknown. They have no brands. If you do these small projects for small companies, they're not branded. You cannot use them really as a marketing tool later. They're not really your champions. You cannot grow them into champions that go around and they say, hey, we did this great project with Intuitech. Maybe you should try to do the same with Asterisk. So it's a little bit a one-way street. And for sure you need, I think, hundreds of clients to make some money out of this SMB market. And I think it's also very tough to grow this way if you go from small into big. I think in the Asterisk space, that's actually very tough. So we changed then a little bit our strategy and said that we don't want to do that anymore, actually. So we said, okay, we only do one thing. We go into the enterprise project market. The requirements in an enterprise market, they're also very difficult. There can be very complex project. But there is for sure a decent service revenue. Normally, enterprises are distributed, so we start in one location. Give example, one of our clients is Pizza Hut. So we do one Pizza Hut call center, then we do the next Pizza Hut call center, and. So it's very difficult to get in the first time. It took us 2 years to get Pizza Hut as a client. But now we have Pizza Hut as a client, and if they open new branches in Asia, they put Asterisk in. So it's an ongoing business. So the investment of the first 2 years of doing proposals and presentation, try to convince them that we can really do that, they're paying out now because they have so many locations. So it's with a lot of other clients from us, like Shell or General Electric. I mean, you can then start to grow inside the network, put the elbows out, and kick the Avayas and Cisco out one installation by one installation. For sure, the recurring business is also very interesting. I mean, we have clients. We have one client is a telco in Malaysia. It's like comparable to, I think, Verizon is a mobile phone provider. So we do the call center for them with a little bit over 1,000 agents. And for sure, there's a lot of recurring business just because of the support contract, 24/7, 1 hour on-site time. So that costs a lot of money. So with one client, again, you can create a lot of revenue to grow your business again. We can then also start to differentiate ourselves because we can do ISO certification, a lot of things you can do. You can do marketing activities. You start to stand out. So we always say we want to be the red striped zebra. You know, I mean, you know all zebra, they're black and white, like a lot of animals, and they all look the same. So we always say in our company, in Asterisk community, we don't want to be the black and white zebra, we want to be the red striped zebra, the one that gets spotted. So in nature, that would be bad, because the lion will see you very quick, correct? But in business, it's good. In business, it's good if you can be a little bit outstanding and you get spotted and somehow look a little bit different. For sure, when the clients are bigger, they have brands. And brands, they help you to sell. That's I won't say selling is never easy, but it's definitely easier if your clients are branded clients, because a brand means trust. And like with everything we do in our life, if you buy shoes or clothes, we always look on a brand. And that's a little bit the challenge, because Asterisk or Ditium, at least in Asia, is not a brand. Maybe here it is, but in Asia, Ditium and Asterisk is not a brand. So we have to write on the brand of our clients to actually sell. Because if we go there and say, we are from Ditium or we use Asterisk, they say, yeah, and? So we have to turn that a little bit around, because we are not a Cisco or a Wire, correct? I can say, I'm from Cisco, and everyone, you're from Cisco? Okay, that must be very good then. Huh? So therefore, I think our strategy was to collect all these brands to actually sell. Huh? I think to go in the enterprise market was for us also not easy. For us, we could do it maybe because we had a little side business actually that created for us the recurring revenue every month to actually invest into this, grow into the enterprise market. So we had a running consulting business actually that creates every month a couple of $10,000 and help us to actually go there. We also had to turn down then all the SMB projects. We got a lot of requests, like, can you do this system for 20 extensions, here 50 extensions? We say, no, we cannot. Better go to another company. We only do enterprise Asterisk. So we act like a large organization. We built our structure, and we stay very focused on what we want to do. And that was it's tough for sure, because you have to put the belt tight. Now it's a little bit better, so we can eat a little bit more. My belt is not so tight anymore, so got a little bit bigger over the last year. So yeah, I think that's what we had to do. Just be very, very structured, focused, and go for these large organizations. This slide I don't want to show to show off in any way, but I just want to show it that we can actually see it's actually really possible to collect good brands and do big projects. I just put a couple of our clients here that you know. I mean, maybe you're aware we did one project for the US Army 2 years ago where we won a Ditium award. That was a very large Asterisk project in Iraq that we deployed for the US Army. So that was, I think, at this time one of the larger Asterisk deployments. But then over the time we did then projects for General Electric, for Shell, for the call center. I think Atos Origin is maybe a company you know, is an American-based consulting and IT company. CSC, we do a project for them. So I think if you get to the point that you say and you want to go into the enterprise market, it's very possible to actually get this client, and they will stay very long with you, and they continue to create revenue for you, because these companies are not standing still. They always buy new systems, they upgrade their SAP, then they need a new Asterisk integration into SAP or PeopleSoft or Oracle or whatever it is. So they always come back to you with some new ideas, what you could do with Asterisk. And that's what we think is very interesting for an Asterisk-based organization, that you can actually leverage on that. Like in every business, we have to build structure. I mean, that's not a really fantastic slide. It's just a reality that we have to have our sales under control. We need structured implementation. I come to that because I see sometimes in the Asterisk community we are a little bit creative how we implement Asterisk in so many different ways. So we made some mistake that I want to share. How we handle our project and how we do maintenance and support. But it's very important that we had to learn from some of our mentors that we're all Asterisk geeks. We like technology. We like to have the great features inside there, like all the crazy things we can do. But then we have to go back to reality and learn how do we actually build a sales team. Because at the end, we can have the greatest product. Asterisk is a wonderful platform. But if we are not acting like a big company and have our sales team under control, nothing will grow. So we had to put proper plans in place. How do we train these salespeople? Because you don't find them in a market. They're not it's not like when you sell Microsoft Exchange or anything where you can find these people in any SI company. There are simply no Asterisk salespeople out there. I'm an experienced one. I think in a room I see a lot of new faces also. I mean, we saw that just now. I think half of the people are the first time here also. So this is really a market that is growing, and the people are not easily available. So we have to train and get skilled salespeople for sure. We have to put a proper sales process in place. I'll show later how that looks like for us, that it works very well. We have very clear KPIs for our client, and we have a very good sales commission scheme, and this is very important. A lot of times salespeople, they switch from company to company, and if you have a startup in Asterisk, this is a killer for you. It's a really killer. So we thought from the beginning, we must really make sure that our salespeople do not leave us to any other SI company. Actually, Digium helped us there with Asterisk because we have a product that is open source. That means our margins are much higher. Therefore, our salespeople get a really big commission. Actually, they get 10% of our business. So if someone sells an Asterisk project, they get 10% of this business as a commission. And that sounds like a lot, but it's not. Because if you compare it to a Cisco or an Avaya project, same IPPABX, our margin that we can play with is huge in an enterprise space. Because if you have a project, let's say 2 million Cisco, there is maybe 1.5 million hardware or 1.2 million hardware, 500,000 licenses, and maybe $100,000 services. So our project, same, is maybe 600,000 hardware, maybe a little bit of license, and maybe $700,000 services, where we integrate Asterisk in the organization exactly how they need. So we can play with much more money for our sales commission. That sounds maybe not so interesting, but it is, because you need to keep your salespeople on board. But if not, you start from scratch again with this Asterisk business. So it's very important to keep them actually happy. At the same time, for sure, we actually push our people also very hard. I mean, that's now not Asterisk specific, but that's something that helped us a lot because we're all technical geeks. So we had to learn that it's very important to have clients meetings. So we have KPIs in place. Every sales must meet 8 clients a week. Every Friday they have to do the follow-up calls. We have lists. We really monitor them. So we do our call calls, our meetings, just to make sure that they really go out there and meet every day 2 new prospects and to close these Asterisk deals, because sales, as you know, is just a number game. So what we do, we just monitor this number to really make it happen with these salespeople. So we also meet every morning with these people. Every morning at 8:30 I have a meeting. Either I'm there or we do via conference call, because we figured out that the enterprise Asterisk space is a very complex market. It's not easy. So the salespeople need a very strong support out there that they're able to sell. So we are doing that actually on a daily basis since 2 years now, and it really it's really fruitful. So we can follow up with our guys and get these sales in actually. For sure, we're also using our Google calendars and all this stuff to monitor where our salespeople go and share a lot of information. The implementation for us in the beginning of our business was a chaos. So we have, let's say, in the beginning, 10 engineers. And we have 10 installations, let's say 1 month, and all the 10 installations look different. On this Asterisk installation, it's 1.6.1 plot I don't know what. On the next Asterisk installation, it was 1.6. I don't know what. And then some guy thought, oh, there's a cool new API or a cool new things and that he could try out. And we had really a chaos. So every time when we do have to support, every time when you walk to a system, it's kind of exciting because you don't know what you will find, you know. So we had to change that a little bit. So what we did, we created like our SOPs, I mean, the structure on how we actually implement. And we also spent quite a fair amount of time, it's a continuous process, to actually build scripts for our installations. Because we only use plain vanilla Asterisk. Okay, that means we don't use any distros and things like that. So we use plain vanilla Asterisk, a couple of other open source tools, and we put just in an install script that they can run on the service, and everything will be more or less installed automatically. That we have to ensure that wherever new engineer that comes, they can just read the SOPs, learn, and then get used with our script, and they can start deploy Asterisk system quite quickly for us. It's very important if you want to start to scale your business, you really need that in place. Because in an enterprise market, you cannot use SwitchVox or, I don't know, all the other appliances out there. They're just simply not able to scale highly enough. So you have to build your own documentation, your own SOPs and structure to do that. What we also do from a project management point of view, that also helped a lot. We create work packages, we call that. So every client has access like to an online portal where he sees his projects, and we break down our task of Asterisk in work packages. So package 1.1, let's say install OS, 1.2, do that, and then that also serves then at the same time as a UAT document. Sounds not so interesting maybe, but in a large project, if you go over, let's say, 30 sites, we have 30 maybe different Asterisk servers, then it's very important that you keep that under control, because the client let's say in the plant A wants to have this feature, a little bit like that, then the plant manager in the other plant want to have other features, and you have to keep track of that. If not, you end up in a huge mess with this distributed system. That's why we have this work package approach, where we define with the client first what they really want, then they sign off of this document, and then we start to implement. In the past, we did different. We say, wow, cool, Asterisk, we can do everything anyway. We go there, we don't have a really idea what the client wants, and from minute to minute, the client tells us, I want to have this call queue, I want to have this one like that, this DID there. You know, it was like changing on the fly. The client very happy in the beginning, because we can do everything, but the project never ends. It goes on and on and on. And then the client said, I thought we can do this. I thought Asterisk can do everything. And then we always had trouble. I mean, some of you, like Smiley, I think you have the same experience. Huh? So yeah, exactly. So it's very, for us, I mean, in the beginning we don't realize, but we realized we really have to structure that we can deliver this project properly. Huh? So for sure, if you have then this work package approach, I mean, if you have these small work packages, you can then do a quality control process that you can track what you actually delivered, and you also can have to enforce with our software engineers everywhere the same way, that they actually deploy what they're doing, especially in Asterisk, because sometimes we use FreeBBX as a GUI. So then they install Asterisk, you put FreeBBX on top, and then, crap, the FreeBBX cannot do that. Let's try quickly go in a dial plan, copy stuff out of FreeBBX, put it in some exclusion files, not documented. They have no clue only one guy can support this system then, and even this guy forgot what he did 2 years ago there. Huh? So very important to actually have this documentation in place. For us, maybe it sounds very logical, but we did before I did business with more commercial kind of software, and a lot of these things were all done by the principal for us. I mean, when we implemented other software databases, the principal gave us the structure. The principal tell us how to do, how to deploy. But Digium does not do that, and they don't have to do that because we are an open source community, so we have to learn all this stuff a little bit by ourselves. Huh? So that's why what I would like to say with this slide, that we have to be really structured if it comes to our implementation. We have one big problem always at the end of a project. The client always asks, can you give me the documentation? Do you also have that? I mean, we don't have an Asterisk documentation. We also don't have a FreeBBX documentation. I mean, if you sell Cisco or Huawei, you get nice manuals, correct? User manuals for the phone, feature manuals, they're nicely printed and stuff like that. I'm not sure how it is for you, but we don't have that. So we have to create that. We have to create that by ourselves. Because at the end, the client will be frustrated. They will say, "Can you give me now the user manual for voicemail?" Does anyone has that from Asterisk? I mean, you wrote it by yourself, I guess. Then, so this is exactly the challenge that we had, that we did not realize in the beginning, that we really have a documentation problem a little bit. I mean, technically it's okay, but from a user administration point of view, so we started to buy books for clients, you know, the Asterisk 1.6 books or so, and say this is the documentation, correct? But I mean, that's also not how it should be, or just buy a FreeBPX book and say, here, this is the user manual. Huh? So there you have to spend time in an enterprise market. I believe with Switchbox you get all the manual and stuff like that. It's a bit different. In the enterprise market, you have to do it by yourself. We also realized we never sell enough training. We always forgot this training bit. We do this Asterisk, big Asterisk systems, and then at the end, the client says, "I want to have training now." And we thought, yeah, half a day training is okay. But suddenly they say, yeah, but then, you know, we have 800 people, or we have 2,000 people. Now you have to split them up in 20 groups. What, split them up 20 groups? We never sold that. So we actually realized every enterprise project really put enough training inside there. Also minimize the access to the system, because this is always a catastrophe for us. I mean, we have some of clients, it's not even finished deployed, it does not work anymore. So they're really excited. They go then into the CLI, and they get root access, and they start to play around with the system. So it's sometimes difficult to say no if they ask for the passwords, you know. So sometimes we're a bit shy, and we still give them the access to the system, and they mess the systems up. So we really try to minimize that. But we also realize in an enterprise project, to have a smooth handover to go live, we always propose to have one of our engineers on site for 1 or 2 weeks. They even set up our own call center there. So let's say we deploy project for, let's say, oil and gas company, and then one of our engineers would sit there. They press, let's say, 2 on a phone, and they reach him, but they can ask immediately question if the system does not work. So we always have a standby engineer there. And we somehow figured out the clients, they like that. That they say, now is the handover, so someone sit there and basically helps with all the user requirements, user needs. It's not about the backend system, the Asterisk works. It's more about the client does not know how to access the voicemail, does not know how to do a forward the call, attend the transfer. So we have a guy on site to do that. Something also that is was a learning curve is we always sell a lot of features and functionality, but then they never used it. They never used this feature. And then we get negative message from the company. We bought such a great new system, but where are all these features now? So we figured out sometimes too many features are also not good. So we learned to sell them less feature, or we do it even over a couple of months. We say we implement this feature set now. Then we make sure that they really use these features, because inside the company, no one cares. But at the end, the CEO will say, look, Danny, now I spent 2 million for this system, and the only thing we do is press 9, because the client still press 9 on our systems, like on an old telephone system, they still want the 9 button. They still press 9 and hammer in a number, make a phone call, that's all they do, and they just pick up the hook, and we spend so much money. So we thought, first we thought that's the client's fault, because the system is there. But then we realized it's actually our responsibility to make sure that they really use it. Because inside, normally, you don't have a product champion. So if we do that, and if we make sure that they really use all these cool features, they're really happy with the system. And they start to go around and tell other people that they use a really great telephony system. If you just deploy it, based per specification, all the features is there, you walk out there, I can guarantee you they will never use all these fancy features that you did, because telephony is not their core business. As is maybe an oil and gas company or a big bakery, and they're not a telephony company and sit in front of the phone, what could I do now? Or read a manual. So you have to make sure that they really do that. And I guarantee you it will help you to also get new sales, because they will start to be your champions and actually go around. I think yesterday was a talk about support also, and I think we have the same view on these things. For sure, you need a standardized, well-defined support package. You need your SLA ready. But if people ask you, how do you support us? In the beginning, we say, you call, then we come. You know, it was not really clear. So now what we have to do, our support package, they have to look professional also. They have a certificate when they buy it. They have a printout. They know where to call, where to email, and the things like that. But at the same time, you have also to be ready to customize them. Because in an enterprise space, I think non-single support is the same at the end. And again, don't say no, just tell them how much it costs, especially with support. And I think here it's even more so than in a selling. In a selling, it's sometimes different, but if it comes to support, let's say in an organization, like in a Pizza Hut or in a telco, they don't mind to pay a lot of support as long as they know that you're really there when they have a problem. So we have clients where our engineers go at 3 a.m. in the morning, weekends, Saturdays. I mean, if they call, we just run. So that's interesting. It's tough, but it also, for sure, it costs a lot of money. Always pick up the phone. That was a big problem, and it still is sometimes in our company. Our engineers, we routed our calls to engineers first, and that's a big mistake. But they never pick up the phone. They only pick up the phone if they want, even if we have a ring group, and we call 4 guys at the same time. We had a lot of complaints that people call and no one picks up. Because if you start to grow, you don't have the resources to have your own call center, correct? You cannot just say, these are dedicated people now for my call center to pick up calls. So we thought, great, we just use Asterisk, call queue, or ring groups, put all our engineers in, and that will for sure work, but it for sure did not work. So we had a lot of clients that are very unhappy with how our support goes. So what we do now, we have we changed that a little bit. In the beginning, we let our salespeople pick up the phones. I mean, if we don't have enough money yet to have a dedicated support team, we thought who in our company could pick up the support calls. So we said that's the sales team. They definitely pick up the call, and it worked. They really do pick up the calls. So I don't know what it is, but there's a difference between an engineer and a salesperson. So when a salesperson phone ring, also in the night, they pick up the call. They key that in a tracker. They call our project manager. The project manager will organize the engineers, and the project manager will call back to the client. So this little change actually helped a lot. We also have to emphasize a lot that support is more important than a new project. Sorry? Sorry?
Do you give them an incentive to pick up that call and forward them?
No, they always want money, yeah. So no, actually, our my view is a little bit different on that, because these are their clients anyway. So if their clients are unhappy, the sales will also be unhappy quite quick, because he will not have any revenue anymore. So the calls go just to a group of sales. So sometimes a sales guy will pick up a call from another account, but that does not matter because all are on the same queue. And I'm not sure. I mean, I don't run a business in the US, but in Asia we just tell them you have to do. I mean, full stop, and also explain them for sure why they have to do it. But I mean, for this one we will not pay money now. Yeah, they get as I say, they get 10% of their. Of our business when they sell, as well also our engineers, they get 2% of our business after UAT. So whenever an engineer comes back into the office with a user acceptance test, means the project is signed off, the engineer get 2% of our business. So that's how we motivate them actually to run and actually close the deals. But if not, they never close deals, they don't care. If an engineer has $6,000 a month, and if this project runs for 3 months or for 4 months, he does not care. But now he cares in our company, because he gets 2% of our business. If he comes back with a form to Frank and say, Frank, I have the UAT here, Frank will sign, and then in next paycheck he gets 2%. So that's how we keep the engineers happy, that they don't leave our company. So this is a little bit a sidetrack from. So in each project, yeah. Every project has a lead engineer. So sometimes you're lucky to get a big project, super big. Sometimes you get a medium-sized big. It's just a round robin, yeah. But every project has a lead engineer. Yeah.
Can we hold the questions till the end of the presentation now in order to kind of move things along? Thank you.
When do I actually have to stop, David?
Oh, about now.
Okay, okay.
We got a few. Okay. We got a few more.
I only have like 2 slides, then I'm finished. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry for that. Huh? So I always try to tell people, but it's very tough, that support calls should not be seen as threats and problems. Sometimes you get a call, oh, this client again. Oh no, middle of the night, shit. Oh no, what is this client? Stupid client. Huh? We hear a lot of things like that. Bad client. I do not like all these words. There are no stupid or bad clients. Huh? I always try to explain every support call is a great opportunity to continue to make a good impression. Because you made a good impression during your deployment, so every problem is actually good. Because you can go back and say that, show that you're still good. You still make a good impression and further strengthen the relationship with your client. Because clients do not mind problems. Clients mind when you don't show up. Okay? So, and if you see, I try to train or tell our people, if we see these problems in a positive way, that will automatically lead to new sales. If you have a big enterprise and you have 50 problems in one project, and you solve them all with full-hearted, the client will not go on and say, oh, Intuit deployed the project, have 50 problems. They would say, Intuit deployed a complex project over 50 sites, we had problems, and they were always there on the spot. That's what they will say. And then there's a positive message out of a problem. So that's what we should try to educate our engineers. Huh? So I'm actually at the end of the presentation. That is just one slide where we show our, we have a professional support that some companies use from us, where we actually help support other Asterisk integrator. And I just have one last slide, what I just want to share. We are proud about ourselves, but we're also proud about Asterisk and Digium. I mean, it's not just about us. Just, what's today? Or the 29th, or what? It does not matter, just a couple of days back, on the 25th of October, we won a very nice award in Asia Pacific. It's called the Asia Pacific ICT Award, and it's called the Best of Communication Application. So we had to win, we have to fight with all the telcos in Asia, and we could win this award with an Asterisk-based platform. And this one I just also like to show that we really should be also, sometimes we forget to be thankful about Digium and Asterisk. We have often we have a lot of complaints. They should do this, they should do that. But even with, I agree, they should do this and that, but even with the problem that we maybe face, some of us with Asterisk or Digium, it's still possible to actually achieve something like that. And I really would like to thank the community to enable us to win and grow our business in this way. Okay, that would be the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Before we say a big thank you to Daniel, let's just get the questions going. I know there's a lot of questions in the room, but I can only allow 3 for the time we have.
Just a simple question. In your larger deployments, what is the most commonly used brand of phones that you use?
Since we are in Asia, we are very cost is very important for us. So the phone is normally a Yearlink phone. So we do a lot of these Yearlink phones in Asia at the moment, yeah, because they give us good price, good quality, and they look decent. It's quite simple. Yeah. I mean, so we do a lot of that. Yeah.
Okay, 2 more questions. One over there.
So when you go to any of these large companies, what is the sales pitch? You know, what like you said, you know, like you're a red, you know, striped zebra.
Okay.
What makes you, you know, stand out? What are the stripes that you bring in?
Okay, I mean, there are a couple, so like zebra has a couple of stripes, but I think it depends a little bit, because every client, before we go, we for sure analyze what is this client, what are their needs, correct? And then we tailor a little bit our sales pitch towards what we think, what they actually are looking for. But I think in enterprises, money actually is not a big issue. I do not think that money is, it's not Asterisk is open. The last thing you do is say we have an open source telephony system and it's cheap. I mean, that's the last thing what we do. So we are selling a system for maybe 20% less than a Cisco or a Wire would cost, but it's exactly tailored to the company's need. So, and that I think what often big companies, they like a lot, because they spend maybe nearly the same amount of money with an Asterisk-based system with us, but it's exactly tailored of how they want to have it. If they would go with a Cisco Wire, they don't have the money to do that. Maybe they have just the money to buy the system, correct, and maybe the money to buy the license, and then they cannot really tailor it and modify it that it really integrates into their back-end systems and things like that. So this is for sure important. And money is for sure also, money is also important. I mean, that there are no license costs for sure. But support for sure is important. And also our outstanding thing now is because with our partners, with our size of over 700 people, the question of support is not a problem. But if the challenge is you're a small company, you cannot really stand out because your support is very weak. So the enterprise, if you can say then you have so many locations, then they're like at ease somehow. Yeah.
Even at the beginning, how do you actually get to, you're very small, how do you get to know the customer that well?
I mean, we just do some background research. We do a lot of networking for sure also. I mean, if you guys do the same here. I mean, we're a lot in associations and we go around and we do presentations and we educate a lot in the beginning. And we also, I always say, at least for me, I'm always a little bit arrogant. I mean, when we go and present Asterisk, we present that in a very, not in a, not like Apple present, you know, a little bit in a proud way. Sometimes I see Asterisk companies go often in a little bit like, we have Asterisk a little bit and a small box. We don't have to go, as I say, act like a big company. They don't need to know in the first minute that you're actually a small Asterisk company. You just try to copy the big ones a little bit.
I think that one's called Fake It Till You Make It.
Exactly.
Fake it till you make it. Yeah. I'm just going to cut that off because we've got time for one more question, and then you can come and see Dr. Daniel afterwards and have private consultations. One more question in the public forum, and it's Shane.
What custom or common feature do you spend most of your implementation on? As far as when you deploy, what takes up most of your implementation time?
Bringing the phone to the desk. No, really. In a large enterprise, if you have 10,000 extensions, if the client expects that you deploy the phones, that's sometimes the most time. It's the most stupid tasks, but the most time-consuming tasks that we forgot in the beginning. So let's say you get your first project with 10,000 endpoints or 5,000 endpoints, and then how do we deploy that now? And because you get then all these boxes, and then you have to start labeling them, and then unpack them. Even if you have 5,000 phones to put hooks on, that takes a long time. So this is actually the most time-consuming part. Yeah, it's mostly not the software development or the integration; it's the deployment. Yeah. And
you don't want to do those by hand either.
Yeah.
Do you want to put a bit of auto-provisioning?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you need to speak to Dr. Daniel afterwards, that facility is available. And after the break, back at 11 o'clock, we've got another session on a similar theme. Kerry Garrison's going to be talking about how to sell Asterisk-based systems. But right now, let's say a very big thank you to Dr. Daniel. And before you go, I have a colleague here who has a little announcement.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Jacques. I run actually an Asterisk system integration business in Europe. And we have won we have won a project with 12,000 extensions to be installed all around the world in 27 countries. So I'm looking for local integrators to be able to help us in that deployment. So if you think you could help us in that respect, please come and see me afterwards. I would really appreciate. Many thanks.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you back here at 11 o'clock for the next session.